8:23. Welcome back to Breakfast Television, first full day of summer, and good morning especially to the parents that are watching Breakfast Television this morning. I'd like you to pay some attention to the big summer issue of Today's Parent. They have spent a lot of very valuable time on a worthy cause, parenting in the age of social media. And joining us this morning to talk about their big summer issue, it's the editor-in-chief of Today's Parent, Sasha Emmons. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I want to thank you for spending some time to really find out how social media is impacting our parenting and our children. Overall, do the positives outweigh the negatives?
They do. We didn't quite know what we would find because really, this is the first generation of parents that are parenting with social media. I mean, Facebook started in 2004, became really big a few years later. So we're just really being able to see, a decade or a little bit more of the effects of it. So, I would say overall there's a love-hate relationship with social media, but definitely more love than hate. People use it to connect with their family, to connect with friends, and to connect with other parents. And the benefits of that connection really outweigh some of the things that they don't love so much about social media.
And some of the negatives then would be parents who use pictures or videos of their children for attention on Facebook or Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few things that bothered parents, kind of have their pet peeves about what other parents do on social media. One thing is TMI, and the math on this one is really funny because 69% of parents said that they have friends that overshare, just share way too, intimate details of their kids, but then only 24% would admit to actually having overshared themselves. So something's not quite adding up there. Some other things that are just pet peeves of parents are, judging, although even more than the kind of sanctimony judgment, the thing that people had rated as their biggest pet peeve was the serial poster. So, the person from morning till night is just posting about every single little thing that their child is doing. Their bedhead, having their morning cereal, going down for their morning nap. So that's something that parents rated as a big pet peeve.
So I want to, in just a second, get to what you guys discovered is the #1 thing that parents should never post online. I'm a bit nervous to find out the answer because I'm pretty sure I probably committed it. But I do want to talk to you maybe about some more specific posts, ones that I know I did. What about when you're pregnant, before the baby's even in the world, and you're posting the sonogram photos? Is that in the list of pet peeves?
Well, we didn't ask about that as a pet peeve specifically, but that if you look at that, that's a huge sea change from before social media to after social media. I mean, half of people announce their pregnancies on social media now, and a third of people, a little more than a third of people, actually even share a sonogram picture. So that's just what people do. That's how they share the info. Before maybe you had like a phone tree, when the baby arrived, or you would slowly make your way around to, family and friends, calling them by phone or emailing. Now everybody, including, your best friend from 3rd grade, gets to find out that you just had a baby.
I want to talk as well about kids' awareness around social media. So I've got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old, and I've really noticed my daughter's awareness coming into play recently. And one thing I do with my kids is I always ask them their permission beforehand. Hey, is it okay? And I check in with them every 3 months. Is that a great idea, or should we just assume that their privacy is our business until they get to a certain age?
Well, I would say that that's a great idea. I do the same thing with my children. As they get older, they're starting to realize, this is their digital footprint too. But interestingly, 58% of parents, or the majority of parents, said they don't ask for permission, and they actually don't plan to, even when their child's a little bit older and can actually give permission. But along with that, 22% did go to post something, thought better of it, and decided not to. And 7% posted something, worried it would embarrass their children later, and then took it down. So I think we're still, we haven't had enough time yet to really see the effects into adulthood when you post an embarrassing story about your child, and maybe that number will be changing.
All right, we've been speaking with Sasha Emmons, the editor-in-chief at Today's Parent, and as we wrap this up, we got to know, what's the #1 thing that parents should never post?
Well, it's all subjective, really. You need to decide what works for your family, but from a safety perspective, we talked to a safety expert, and they said don't post happy birthday greetings to your child.
Really?
Just tell them in person. Don't post it, because that's just information that someone could then use, a stranger could use to create a connection with your child, make them feel like they know your child. So just save the happy birthday greetings for in real life and not on Facebook.
Thank you so much for joining us, Sasha from Today's Parent, and check out their big summer issue, which is all about parenting in the age of social media. Happy first day of summer, Sasha.
Thank you, you too.